Hi everyone, I'm Damien from Team Micro and welcome to Growth Hacking 101, the podcast for permanent makeup and SMP artists who want to really get the best out of their business. Today we're covering a slightly unusual topic. We're going to talk about your non-marketing plan. This is the ultimate aim for any artist business, is to get to a point where you don't need to do a great deal of marketing anymore. How do we get from where you are now to that point? That's what we're going to cover. So without further ado, let's make a start. What do I mean by a non-marketing plan? Well, do you know those artists that are they just always seem to be busy? It's just not on their radar to think about how they're going to get more customers. You know, they've got plenty of customers already. They're booked up for a few weeks, a few months in advance. We want to get you to that point. And that's got to be the ultimate aim for every artist, to be able to have that level of success without the outgoing of constant marketing budgets in ads, SEO, and so on and so forth. This needs to be your ultimate aim. And I want to preface this with a couple of things. The first thing is that what you see on social media and what the reality is are not always the same. So an artist may say that they're busy because it's good marketing to say that they are, but they might not be as busy as perhaps they say they are. The other thing to just bear in mind is that this is something that will become easier over time. So to a certain extent, it's not realistic for an artist with 6 months in the business to be thinking about a non-marketing plan. This is something that you need to have on your radar even from day one, but it's going to take a little while for you to get there. So this is long-term strategy planning for your permanent makeup or SMP business. And, you know, the benefits are really, really clear. This is where the real wealth is made. You know, when you have an artist who doesn't have Google ads to pay for, Facebook ads to pay for, but they've still got that constant stream of customers coming in, their profit margins go through the roof, and from a financial standpoint makes the business much more rewarding. Now, I should also mention that what a lot of artists do, they don't just take that extra profit and pull it in their bank. What this actually does for a lot of artists is it gives them the opportunity to expand because they've got free cash flow available. So rather than spending it on marketing, they can spend it on hiring more staff and growing their team. Some artists will build out another location. Some artists will invest those funds into higher level marketing items. For example, having a professional videographer come in and do some nice promotional videos, or build online training courses, which costs a lot of time and money. It gives them the ability, the option to do that. But which way you go, once you achieve your non-marketing strategy, once that's done and your business is more profitable, what you do with that profit is ultimately an individual decision for you to make. So those artists who are always busy, that didn't happen by accident. Time is a big contributor. But most of those artists have a plan, or they had a plan to get to where they are now. And that's what we're going to discuss. The ultimate aim being to remain busy without spending anything on marketing, or at least spending very little, or at least giving you that option. And also it's worth bearing in mind, the reason why I say that over time things get easier is because top-ups, whether you're a permanent makeup artist or an SMP artist, top-ups will make up a greater proportion of your income as time progresses. Obviously, you've got permanent makeup clients coming in for a top-up every year, 2 years. You've got SMP clients coming in for top-ups every 2 to 5 years. And over time, those top-ups will have a cumulative effect on your revenues. So what exactly do we need to do to get you into a position where marketing becomes an optional expense? There's a few things we're going to cover in this talk. The first one of these is reviews, because reviews is effectively marketing for your business that you don't have to pay for. It's something that can be set more or less on autopilot, and good reviews, especially on Google, will perpetuate your Google Maps rankings and improve your conversion rates. And they just generally have a good overall therapeutic effect on your business and on your revenues. A good solid foundation of reviews will create organic inquiries at zero cost. What you need to do is systemize the gathering of reviews, because this won't happen by accident. You don't want to be in a situation where lots of customers promise a review, but it never materializes. I would encourage you to listen or watch, depending on the platform, episode 4 again. We cover reviews in a great deal of detail and how you can systemize the gathering of those reviews, and just to make it easy, just to take that one chore off your plate. The first thing that you need to do is go onto teammicro.com and pick yourself up one of our review QR code signs, and then build that into your clinic exit procedure, your post-procedure process. It's really important as well that if it's not just you in the business, that you train your staff how to use this very, very powerful, very simple but very powerful tool, and make sure that they follow through consistently every time. The crux of the reviews is that you need to systemize it, you need to automate the process as much as you possibly can, and just build it into your routine, because reviews are ultimately free marketing and to a lesser extent a free SEO tool. The second thing that you need to start doing, and this is something that most artists who are new to the industry don't even have on their radar. But if you want to build a long-term sustainable zero marketing business or zero marketing cost business, you need to really start thinking about your PR. And when I talk about PR, I'm talking about the relationships that you maintain with local and national media outlets. So on a local level, each one of you will have a collection of local newspapers and news outlets. Now, in today's world, what that really means is there's a collection of news websites that may or may not be connected to what were once local newspapers or what still may be. And that can vary from a small local publication right the way up to massive publications like the London Evening Standard or the New York Times. All of those publications have websites, and you want to be talking to those organizations about getting covered, not through a paid feature, but through standard editorial content with something that's newsworthy. And there are really two benefits to this. Well, there's three actually. Benefit number one is that it gives you massive credibility. You can then publish on your website and on your social media as seen in the Chicago Tribune or whatever it might be. That gives you massive credibility. The second thing is the immediate uptick at the time that it's published of the number of bookings that you're going to get, because if you're covered by one of these big publications, you're going to really feel it in the business. And the third benefit is that if you get an article on one of these websites and that article contains a link to your website, that is going to have a significant impact on your SEO, which again is something that it's a way that you can improve your SEO without having to pay for it. PR is not an easy exercise. There are specialist agencies that handle this stuff, but you don't really need that. What you actually need is to just take a step back and think about what it is that these media outlets really want to publish. It's really easy for an SMP or a permanent makeup artist to think, well, I want to get featured in whatever publication it might be. But you're going about it the wrong way. And artists who do that very rarely get featured. What you really need to think about is, what can I offer these publications that is newsworthy, that they're going to want to publish, that's going to add value for their readership? And you've got to be really honest with yourself about what's newsworthy. So let's say, for example, you have a client who comes in who has alopecia. You have reconstructed their eyebrows, or maybe you've done an SMP procedure. Now, yes, it's newsworthy, and it's the kind of thing that could get picked up by, one of the major alopecia charities or a really small local publication. But it's not the kind of thing that a big news outlet is likely to want to cover. Let's say, on the other hand, that a client was involved in a car accident and they suffered injuries as a result of that. And the work that you've done has restored that. And it's kind of like a life-saving type story where, they could have died, and it's a bigger story as a result of that. That's the kind of thing that the news outlets may well want to cover. And I'll give you a good example of that. There's a hair transplant surgeon in the UK who went to Pakistan to do eyelash transplants for women who had been the victim of acid attacks. And this hair transplant surgeon went over there and did these procedures for free. Now, that's a big story. And on a more local level, there's a permanent makeup artist up in Washington State who was able to offer a range of procedures for a teenager who had suffered lifelong alopecia. That was covered because it literally gave this teenager a new lease of life. And the local media covered that story. And that was really valuable. So think about it from the perspective, not from your perspective, but think about what these media outlets are going to want. They want articles that are going to gain clicks and eyeballs. Give them something meaty, give them something newsworthy, and approach them in a way where you're speaking their language because you're looking at it from their point of view, and you're much more likely to have success. Perhaps the most important element of your non-marketing plan, so you never have to pay for marketing ever again, is SEO. Full disclosure, we're a little biased because we offer SEO here. But the reason that we do that is because we honestly believe it's the best investment that any artist can make in their business. Because what you spend today has a long-term impact long after you finish paying for your SEO. Now, this is clearly, because of the nature of it, which with ads, you don't get that, but with SEO, you do. Clearly, as part of a long-term non-marketing plan, SEO has to play a significant role. You really shouldn't underestimate this. It has the power to replace all of the paid advertising that you're doing. If you're advertising on Facebook, advertising on Google, any other forms of marketing, SEO is incredibly powerful. And those artists who get to rank at number 1, number 2, number 3 for anything meaningful typically finds that the impact on their business is extremely profound and life-changing in many cases. Now, the priority from an SEO point of view is to rank for your services in your city. So, for example, if you're a microblading artist and you're based in Miami, you want to rank for microblading Miami, and you want to rank for microblading near me when the customer happens to be stood in Miami. And then once you're ranked there, you can then start expanding that out. So, for example, if you are based in, let's say you're based in Huntington Beach, California, your number 1 priority might be to rank for microblading Huntington Beach. But once you achieve that, you can then expand that to microblading Orange County. And then even beyond that, if you really build up a reputation and customers are willing to travel, then you want to start ranking for things like microblading SoCal, Southern California, that type of thing. And slowly but surely, your SEO will become more and more powerful. You can also expand it in other ways. So let's say, for example, we have a client in Pennsylvania where number 1 priority was to rank this particular artist for all of her local search terms, her local towns, and rank her for a nearby city to where she's based, and also for Pennsylvania. But as time went on, the focus shifted to training keywords. Now, this particular artist has trainees come in from all over the US. So then we switched to a national strategy. But ultimately, however you manage your SEO or whatever you want to target, the aim is always the same. Get ranked and then either not have to spend money on SEO but still hold those positions, or drop down the budget significantly so it becomes more of a maintenance rather than a trying to get you up the rankings type exercise. It's fairly common once you're ranked well to hold those positions for many, many months, sometimes many, many years. Often you will need to maintain those rankings with a small spend each month, but the impact is pretty profound. You do need to allow maybe 2 or 3 years of really good quality SEO in order to get to that position. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Generally speaking, you'll see an impact in your business within the first 2 to 3 months, but then you'll see a slow, steady increase over that time. And how much of an impact on the business this has, or how long it needs to be done for to have that impact, really depends on your local environment. If you're based in Manhattan, then getting to the top is going to be much more difficult and it's going to take longer. But the impact on your business is going to be much, much bigger. Whereas if you're based somewhere else, let's say you're based in a smaller city like Jacksonville, Florida, then the impact on your business will be a little bit smaller, but it will take less time. And also as well, there is a strong argument to say actually the impact might not be smaller, because being number 4 or 5 on Google in Manhattan versus being number 1 in Jacksonville, you may well find that actually that in either case, the impact on your business is pretty significant. So prices for good quality SEO start from, we have a new product launching at the end of this month. The prices start from $200 a month, and they range anywhere from $200 a month up to well over $1,000 a month based on your requirements. So best thing to do is just get in contact with us. Just simply go to teammicro.com and book a call. And but either way, even if you use another agent for your SEO, just be sure that they know what they're doing. The next element of your non-marketing plan has to be your social media. Social media is a really important part of your business, and it's only going to become more important. Now, I'm not going to tell you how you should be posting on social media. I am going to give you some ideas as to how you can semi-automate that process to a certain extent. One of the biggest challenges with social media is constantly coming up with new ideas for things to post. And some of you will be really social media savvy. You'll be posting on TikTok, Instagram Reels. You'll be doing all that stuff as a matter of routine. But for the majority of artists, they either don't have the know-how or the mindset or the time to do that kind of stuff. But there are some things that can really help you. So one of the things that you need to focus on is user-generated content. otherwise known as UGC. Now, in its purest form, user-generated content usually refers to a client commenting on some content. Perhaps you have a blog post and somebody will put a comment on that blog post. I'm talking about something a little bit different. I'm referring to having those clients supply you with the social media content that you need so that you've always got something to post. So let me give you an example. What if you were to run a regular competition within your business to encourage your past customers to send you up-to-date photographs of their work? So let's say you did their brows 6 months ago. Well, how cool would it be to have that client send you a photograph in a really casual setting? They could be anywhere, doing anything, but send you a photograph showing you what their brows look like now. You could run some kind of competition that simply says, if you send us these photographs, we'll enter you into a competition. We'll run it every month, and the winner wins something in particular, whatever it might be. And you could SMS that or email that to your entire customer base, and you're going to get a fair few photographs. You're going to have people that want to enter every month, which is fine. But then when they send these photographs into you, you can then post them out on your social media as a 6-month update, 9-month update, however long it's been. And that type of content's really cool. It's really natural. It's unforced, and it'll go really well with your current before and afters that you're putting out there. Now, you don't necessarily have to do all of this stuff yourself. I mean, the purpose of this is to put as much of this on autopilot as humanly possible. Now, one of the things that you could consider is you could think about maybe hiring a VA, a virtual assistant. A lot of artists think about hiring a VA, but most of them tend to struggle knowing when the right time is to pull the trigger. And this is my personal opinion, but I've got to say that business changes when you have other people coming in to help you with the day-to-day running of it. Okay, so my personal opinion is that the best time to get a VA is as soon as you can afford to do it. A VA is not expensive. So the most common ways to hire a VA is either to hire somebody from your home country, to hire somebody from India, or to hire somebody from the Philippines. Now, if you hire someone from your home country, you just need to have a look around and see. Sometimes you'll deal with the VA directly. Sometimes you'll be dealing with an agency. There are pros and cons of each of those. If you deal with an agency, if your VA's off sick, then that's great because somebody else can step in. But the downside of dealing with an agency is that you kind of lack that one-on-one relationship where the person really understands your business because you're not dealing with one individual. So there's pros and cons, and it's only really for you to decide. And there's all kinds of things that VA can do. You know, they can answer your social media messages, in the middle of the night so the customers get a faster response. All kinds of things that benefits to the business in addition to just posting out your social media competitions and putting these posts online. If you want to get a VA from India, a good place to start is a company called Brickwork. Their website is brickworkindia.com. They're an award-winning virtual assistant agency based out there, and they're not the cheapest, but they're one of the best. If you want to look at the Philippines, which more and more people are hiring for the Philippines for a whole variety of reasons, the quality from the Philippines tends to be very, very high. The number one company out there is a company called Virtual Staff, and you'll find them at virtualstaff.ph. Finally, the other alternative, if you have the budget, is you could hire somebody to work with you in-house. That person doesn't necessarily need to be full-time. You could hire somebody part-time to come in and do maybe 15, 20 hours a week or whatever you feel is required. It really depends on your personal preference. The advantage of having somebody in-house is that they're really going to get to know your business really, really well. But the downside is you then have a fixed cost in your business and an additional member of staff who needs to be looked after and trained and so on. But for many artists, that is actually the best route. So it's up to you. The next part of your non-marketing plan, and this one's a real simple one, is you need to set up some feeds for your website. So what you don't want to be doing is constantly having to update your website or having to pay somebody to constantly update your website. Now, for the first few years of you being in business, you're probably going to need that because so much is going to change. You're going to add new services. You're going to be doing all kinds of different things. So you're going to need to be constantly updating. And you may find that never changes, but you can certainly reduce the amount of work that needs to be done by focusing on a couple of things. So one of those is you can set up an Instagram feed so that whatever appears on your Instagram automatically appears on your website. I know a lot of you do that already, but you can actually take it a step further and make it hashtag specific. So let's say, for example, you want all of your latest brow photos on your brow page. You can actually use hashtags to create a feed through to your brow page so that when you put a post on your Instagram, if you want it to appear in your brow section, you simply add that hashtag. So what that means is that not just your gallery or your homepage, but various different parts of your site can automatically be updated with different types of content. It's something that we do for our clients as an option. Strongly recommend it's something that you look into. The second type of feed that you can add is a review feed. You can have a feed of reviews taken from various different platforms: Facebook, Google, BBB, Yelp, Trustpilot. All of those reviews merge into a single feed in date order, which is then fed through to your site so that you've always got your latest reviews on your site. Now, when you take those two things combined, what that means is that even with no work on your side, or even if you still have somebody doing some of the other updates, at least you know that your website is constantly being updated with your latest content. And finally, and this is a super important thing to do, that a lot of artists struggle to know how to approach this, it's so much easier to do more business with an existing customer than what it is to find a new one. Ultimately, the mainstay of your business in years to come, if it isn't already, is going to be the number of existing customers who return to you for various different things, top-ups, additional procedures, that type of thing. So you need to make sure that you treat those customers really, really well, and also that you retain a connection with them long after they leave your clinic. It's the little things, like remembering when your client's birthday is, or other special dates, remembering the names of their children. And there's booking systems like Vagaro, Timely, Square that can set reminders, send SMSs, and trigger certain notifications and communications at certain times. You can send things like a text message wishing them happy birthday and offering them a birthday treat, which could be a discount code on a particular service. You can do those types of things. Certainly as a minimum, you want to be remembering when they're due for top-ups and you want to be contacting them. Don't rely on them coming back to you. You know, customers are fickle. Even if you think that they were the happiest customer in the world, they may shop around, they might move house, they might try and find another artist. Maybe they're not as loyal as you thought they were. And sometimes just prompting them and saying, hey, it's time for a top-up, why don't you drop some photographs through so we can have a look? That might just be the difference between you getting that top-up booking and not. And lastly, you really want to go hard on referrals. If you've got these customers who are really, really happy, and that's a growing customer base of people that are happy with the work that you've done, then you want to be asking them to refer you to as many people as possible, as many of their friends and family who could also benefit from procedures. So to summarize, none of the things that I've told you will develop your non-marketing plan on their own, but as a combination of different things, with the strongest being things like your social media automations with your SEO, those types of things. You will find eventually at some point in the future, and maybe not as far away as you think, you'll be able to operate your business while spending either no money on marketing at all or a greatly reduced amount of money each month, depending on your individual circumstances. So that's it, everybody. I hope you found this useful. If you're listening on your favorite podcast channel, then please subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe and don't forget the bell icon to make sure that you get all of our latest notifications when we publish new content. If you're watching us on one of our social media channels, then please subscribe and we'll let you know as soon as new episodes come out. We'd love to hear your comments and your feedback. So please drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know if any of these strategies you've been able to implement and if you've noticed the benefits of implementing them. If there's anything I've missed, please let me know. If you agree, if you disagree, anything at all, just let us know because we'd love to hear what you have to say. That's all from me for today. Thank you very much, everybody. Over and out.